New midnight class changes. What's up guys, Petko here, 29th of October, and we got a new class changes. This is gonna be the last time we're gonna see any alpha changes before we switch to beta. Beta is rumored to come around middle of November, so there's like a 1 week buffer. Let's dive in, see what they've done, and talk about it. First of all, they finalized the tier sets. There were a few classes that still missed tier sets. We're gonna read about them. Balance Druid tier set. So the 2-piece is really good. I really enjoyed the 2-piece quite a lot. Passive damage also, they give you Starfall, Star Stretch by 5%, which is pretty good. Overall, not too bad of a tier set. I think the first season they're trying to make non-impactful tier set, so fair enough. I also like the Pharaoh Druid tier set. As you can see, clear casting from Omen of Clarity increases your critical strike chance by 5% for 4 seconds. That's pretty good. Keep in mind, you do get clear casting quite often. And also, rake damage increased by 20%. Clear casting increases shred or swipe damage by additional 20%. Good passive damage both on ST and AoE. Now, Guardian Druid, I'm a bit disappointed, but Trash and Moonfire more damage passively. That's a good 2-piece. And then the 4-piece kind of dog shit. More raise Ravage, additional 5% chance to activate Galactic Guardian. Moonfire, periodic damage has a chance to make your next more raise Ravage strike again at a 100% effectiveness. I don't know. Not big fan of that one. Brewmaster Mode, Cake Smash does more damage, and Brittlify does more damage too. And Cake Smash energy cost reduced by 5, and when it strikes a target affected by Barrier Fire, it deals additional fire damage. Overall, more damage on Brewmaster, not too bad. I would love to see some defensive options for Brewmaster instead of just purely damage, but they are already known to do a lot of damage, so they're gonna double down on that one. Prot Paladin Shield Righteousness does more damage. After casting Shield Righteousness, your next Avenger Shield deals 5% increased damage. Stacking on 5 times. Kinda yikes. Afflock. Now look, the 2-piece of Afflock is absolutely crazy. Unstable Affliction and Seed of Corruption does 10% more damage. Now this is very good. And the 4-piece is kind of bad. Agony starts at 2 stacks and its damage increased by 20%. Now Agony damage contribution from your overall, it's not high at all. So that being buffed by 20% is whatever. Now the stacking part could also be lucrative if you're playing talents that enhances agony damage. For me, the 2-piece should be way stronger than the 4-piece. Demonlock Hand of Gul'dan, more damage, and your Dex Dreadstalker deal 10% increased damage and lasts 3 additional seconds. Now the 4-piece on Demo is really good. Destrolock kills both the Rain of Fire, does 5% more damage, and Conflagrate generates 2 additional soul shards, fragments, and its damage increased by 10%. Once again, 2-piece way better. Last but not least, Warriors, Fury Warrior Rampage does more damage, Odin Fury does more damage by 10%, and Rampage reduces the cooldown of Odin Fury by 1 second, and Odin's Fury damage is increased by additional 10%. So that means you gonna be playing Odin's Fury at all the time when playing Fury Warrior. Because your tier set is based around Odin Fury and Rampage, and you're gonna be spending Rampage quite often, so not too bad, I guess. Prot Warrior, Shoot Slam does more damage, and Shoot Charge does more damage as well. Ravage and Thunderclap does more damage. Okay, so overall, everything grants you more damage on tanks, it seems like. However, Shield Charge grants Ravage. Okay, yeah, just pretty much all in on, all damage on most tanks. That's pretty good. I think the tier set I like the most out of all of this gotta be Affliction and Demonology Walk tier set. I think they're very strong, and probably Pharaoh Druid as well. I think those tier sets out of everything that I mentioned right now are looking to be the best so far. Anyway, moving to the class changes, starting with Death Knight first. They're buffing Rider of the Apocalypse hero talent here for Death Knight. There's been some huge amount of changes for Frost Decay, mostly changes done to resolve some of the bugs they were having, especially with scaling, so that's pretty good. New Capstone, Pestilence, when Scorching Strike and damage to enemy affected by plagues, it has a chance to upgrade Outbreak to Pestilence. Okay. Interesting. Why is it labeled for Frost? I'm not sure. It sounds to me like unholy, but nonetheless, that's pretty much all for decays. Not that many changes done for them. Mostly talent changes, repositioning of talents, and some bug fixes on top of it. Demon Hunter, the most impactful Demon Hunter changes were done to Devourer. You're gonna see in a second a lot of changes done to them. They're trying to shift around the playstyle they're having, and overall I'm starting to be pretty hopeful with the spec itself. As you can see, so many new talents announced for the DH. Looking forward to test them out later on in a few hours from now on Alpha, see what's up with that. There's been also some nerfs. As you can see, Reap, Collapsing Star, Damage nerf. Pretty much every ability got nerfed. The Hunt, Void Step, Hungry Slash, Void Ray, they've been nerfed by quite substantially here. We recently fixed an issue causing Devourer Demon Hunters to receive less intellect on their gear than other specialization. As such, they gain significant powers. So that was the reason why they nerfed all the abilities, because they apparently didn't get enough intellect from the gear. So now you know. Also remove some talents here for Devourer DH as well. And a new cool talent here. Let me just take a look. I'm gonna check it out later on live servers and play around a bit with the talents, but so far it's been some passive damage talents. Seems like I wanted to see some cool or new talent added to respect, but I don't see any as of now. Speaking at least new one. Yeah, more crit, more mastery, void builders, more damage. Okay, yeah, nothing cool. Evoker, there's been pretty much minor changes. The biggest change was done to press Evoker. Temper Anomaly now has a bigger range, and all healing got reduced by 10%. That's pretty much all the biggest changes for Evoker. Mostly everything else has been pretty minor, especially bug fixes. Sentinel, they're buffing Moonlight Chakram by 900%. So that Chakram was so bad that it wasn't even worth using. Now that they buffed it by 900%, obviously when I press it on cooldown, that's pretty cool. Beast Mastery, they got a new Apex Talents. One of the few specs that did not have Apex Talents. Let's read them. Beast Rat also grants you Data Beast to fight alongside with you for 10 seconds. Amazing. Because Beast Rat is every 30 seconds pretty much. So having that beast to be 100% guaranteed, it's insane. Damage done with your pets increased by 10%. Now this is really very interesting, because Dark Ranger particularly focus on Black Arrow, Bleak Powder, so them buffing your pets by 10% heavily leans on Pack Leader, at least to me. When I summon Dire Beast, your next kill command has a 100% increased critical strike chance and causes the target to bleed for additional 20%. That's gonna add prior damage. So we already knew BM Hunter has a lot of prio. This will add even more prio. Not too bad. I'm happy with the Apex talent so far for Beastmaster Hunter, but once again, they benefit a lot more Pack Leader compared to Dark Ranger. Apex talents for Hunter. When you gain lock and load, surging shots, or death blow, your next related aim shot, rapid fire, or kill shot will deal 25% additional bleed damage. Question is, once it procs again, does that bleed damage get refreshed or does it get add-on top of the new one? Not sure. Gotta test it out. You deal 8% increased damage against enemies affected by deep inside bleed. This is the bleed, deep inside. So that's very strong, dude. 8% more damage if they have the bleed. That is very strong. When you consume lock and load, death blow, or surging shots, you have a 25% chance to immediately gain one of the other effects. Lock and load, death blow, and surging shots. Okay, so if you consume, let's say... So I don't quite like that one. Unless I consume death blow and I get lock and load proc, that would be insane. Surging shots, whatever. But I guess if I do consume surging shots, I have a chance to get lock and load. So I think overall, the Apex talents for both BM and MM are looking to be pretty good. Minor changes done to survival, so not too impactful. Moving forward, Monk. Some changes done to Conduit to the Celestial, seems like. My eyes immediately looked at Celestial Conduit, no longer splits its damage, and now deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Pretty much capped on 5 targets. Soft cap at least on 5 targets, Celestial Conduit. I love how they like to cap Monk on 5 targets on every single spec. Unknown reasons why, but it seems like they've been very heavily focused on that one for now. Pretty much no changes done for Windwalker, which is pretty disappointing. It's a little bit more damage to yield on knowledge. Shadowpan's been seeing some minor changes. They're trying to balance out both Shadowpan and Conduit. But once again, it seems like Conduit, for me at least, looks to be a lot more interesting to play compared to Shadowpan. Bounce Dark Talent has been removed. Oh, there's specifically changes done to Windwalker. That's a lot of stuff. Okay, let's read about them. This week, update to Windwalker focused on making Zenith, previously Weapon of Order, a more powerful and satisfying standalone cooldown. As Invoked Zoan, the White Tiger, has moved to the Conduit of the Celestial Hero Talent tree for Windwalker. Okay, this will entail introducing an option modifier for its duration, but we are still looking to keep these to a minimum for Windwalker Monk. We're also replacing a few talents we don't feel are accomplishing our goal and cleaning up Windwalker visual profile to have less superfluous effects. Guys, what are these words? I'm a WoW player. I don't have a PhD in literature. Going out to be more consistent for Monk fantasy. Okay, so they rename Weapons of Order. They found new talents. Let me check something cool one. RSAK gains 20% additional effectiveness for mastery. Weapon of Winds, damage during Zeniths increased by 10%. Ooh, damage during a measured cooldown increased by 10%. That is huge. Melee attack speed increased by 30%. This bonus increased by 60 during Zenith, which is your major cooldown. Tiger Fang, your auto attack critical strike chance increased by 15%. Activating Zenith causes you to release a powerful stomp, dealing significant nature damage to nearby enemies, capped on 5 targets. Lol. New talent, magical damage increased by 15%. What is this amazing talent, by the way? No longer stacks an aura to increase chi explosion damage. On Jade Firestorm does more damage. Blackout Kick does more damage. Interesting. They've been removing Chi Wave. Invoke Zuin the White Tiger is now going to be only available to Conduit Celestial Hero Talent Tree. They remove Zuin Blood, Summon the White Tiger, Statue, Storm Pit Strikes, Rushing Jade Wind also removed. Okay, so overall interesting changes done to Invoker. They're moving to the right direction. I'm happy with this one. Minor changes done to Priest, both for Archon and Shadow. I honestly expected a bit more changes done to Shadow Priest, but that's fine. Oracle Discipline, new talent, Ward with Wise Flash Shield, Plea, Power Ward, Radiance Healing increased by 15%. Juicy. I thought me healing does more damage. When Power Word Shield or Void Shield expires with absorption remaining, it jumps to a nearby injured ally. Huge, by the way. I like that. Huge. Okay. Greater Smite increases the damage of Smite by 25% per stack plus 15 more damage, aka more healing for this priest. Good. Greater Smite no longer increases the cast speed of Smite. Ha! That's everything for priest. I expected a bit more. They're pretty much adding the missing talents for Archon and Archon Oracle. They're adding a few more talents missed there. So both for Shadow and Holy and Disc. So nothing significant, I would say. Rogue, that's everything for Rogue changes. Mostly they're balancing out or introducing new talents to Deathstalker. They were still missing talents on the side of the tree, and they now added new talents for that Deathstalker. So as you can see, critical strike damage bonus increased by 20%. Huge, by the way. Deathstalker Mark has a 30% chance to immediately consume a stack when applied. Okay, I like the first one. That's very good for me. That's everything for Rogue. I expected more changes done to them. Last but not least, Warrior. There's nothing for Shaman, nothing for Warlock so far. Pretty interesting. Nothing for Paladin too. Barbaric Training is now 1 point. Crushing Force now 1 point. Anger Management now affects the following abilities. For Arms, only Avatar and Colossal Smash. For Fury, only Avatar and Recklessness. For Protection, only Avatar and Shield Wall. Okay. I mean, Anger Management is now part of the class tree instead of the spec tree. So, and also they're giving you two extra points on a class tree because they're making those two 1-pointers. Unless you weren't playing them in the first place, then sure. Or maybe just only a point, I guess, not two. A lot of things done to Arms Warrior. One of the most changed spec this week. They added a bunch of new talents, which I'm pretty happy to see. As you can see, they're doubling down on Arms being the execute go-to spec, and they're adding a talent called Max Execution. Cleave Whirlwind does 25% increased damage to targets below 35% health. Once again, doubling down on that one. Avatar added to the Iron Specialization tree and has been updated. Transforms into Colossus, increasing all damage you deal by 20% and reduces damage you take from area of effect, pretty much avoidance, by 5% for 20 seconds. It's pretty cool. Tactician also has been reworked. Efficiency has been redesigned. Ignore Pain has been updated for Arms Warrior. Fight through the pain, ignoring 50% of the damage taken for 12 seconds or until a certain amount of damage is taken. 20 seconds cooldown, rage cost removed, and amount of ignored per use increased by 100%. Triggers a global cooldown, however. So I think adding an extra defensive here to Arms Warrior is a very good thing because once again, I believe Fury was way tankier than Arms, so now they have a way to mitigate more damage, which is pretty cool, especially on 20 second cooldown. You're gonna be able to press this pretty much every single pack. Now the thing is, it doesn't cost rage, but it triggers global cooldown, which I don't think is as cool because you might have a chance to not press it if you're really focusing on executing your rotation here. It's fine. Yeah, overall a lot of cool stuff. Dreadnought's been buffed by 180%. Crazy buff, by the way. So removing some abilities as well. Blunt Instrument, Merciless Bone Grinder, Spiteful Serenity. Overall, this is looking to be very good changes here for Arms Warrior. I'll speak to Archie, see what he thinks about Warrior in general, but overall, this looks to be pretty good. Happy about that one. They also reworked Fury Avatar, transforming to Colossus, increasing all damage you deal by 20% and increasing your movement speed by 5%. Whatever. I guess the Avatar rework is generally the same for every single spec, that they all do 20% more damage and then they gain something. 5% avoidance for Arms Warrior, 5% movement speed for Fury, and 3% reducing all damage taken by 3% for protection. I guess that's fine. That's everything about Alpha build this week, chat. Keep in mind, this is likely going to be the last time they've done any Alpha changes. If there is anything next week, I'll report back. But pretty much expect beta to drop out in November, and with beta comes Mythic Plus, and with Mythic Plus testing comes testing on every single spec in Mythic Plus for a DPS point of view. And once again, we resume the tier list build up every single Sunday at 2 o'clock Central European Summer Time. It will probably begin a week or two after the Mythic Plus gets to be launched, which pretty much means December, November, and January, probably February too. Expect a lot of content from this channel and you won't be disappointed. Anyway, follow for more. I'll see you guys on stream to test everything. Bye for now.